So you want to own a boat. Are you sure about that? A couple of months ago, I noticed a little bit of moisture on the bottom of the engine room here. Not in the bilge that always has a little bit of water in it, but just kind of in an area that shouldn't have water in it. And I looked and I'm like, oh man, it kind of looks like our hot water heater is leaking. The water heater is original as far as I know, which means it's 34 years old, still works great. But I thought, well, it's certainly possible that the tank may be leaking. Recently I got into the boat and kind of just thought it smelled a little funky. I looked around, everything looked good. It normally has a little bit of an odor in the engine room because, again, we've got 34-year-old plastic tanks and tubing down here. But everything looked okay. I came down here today because I decided I wanted to look and see if I had everything I needed to replace the velvet drive lubrication. And noticed a lot of water on the floor again. So I've traced around and look what I found. At first I thought it was the hose from the toilet to the tank, but it looks as though it's actually this vent hose. We've had some issues lately at River City. The pump out hose has a few leaks in it. Apparently a new one has been ordered, so we're not really able to fully pump out our tank. Anyway, this tank is full and it looks like it is now coming out of the overflow that goes over the side of the boat, but it's actually coming out of the little elbow where the elbow connects with that hose. So we're going to try to just tighten this hose clamp down, see if that makes a difference. It really will only leak when the tank is full and it's overflowing, which it is right now. I might have to replace this elbow and replace this hose, which is not that big of a deal, but I need to make sure that I get this tank fully emptied out before I do that, because I really don't want to try to do that with anything in the tank. So what I've done now, I've tightened that screw. I went to the toilet, I filled it up with water and I flushed it, and as you can see, it is still leaking. So it looks as though I'm gonna have to go and get a new hose and probably put a new hose clamp on here. Hopefully that's gonna stop our leak. I think that's in good shape. So all we need is a new hose. $77 at, of course, West Marine. Probably could have gotten this for for about half the price online, but that's the nice thing about West Marine is it's there and I can usually get the stuff that day. This was $30, this little through haul. I also got a couple of clamps, which I'm sure I probably have the right size anyway. It's just a vent hose, so even though they didn't have the right tubing in the size that I needed, I got this and I think it's gonna work. I think it should work just fine. I think if it was one that was gonna have fluid all the time, I would probably do the correct hose. Now, for those of you who are regular viewers, you'll know that I have a big thing against fractional measurements. So the barb is a 1/2 inch barb, but the tubing is 5/8 inch tubing. They mean it's 1/2 inch. I mean, look at how narrow it gets in there. I'm not liking that so much, but it gets really narrow in there. This, I guess, is 1/2 inch inside diameter, right? But the outside diameter is 5/8, because this is inside diameter of 5/8. Why can't things just be like normal? And why can't this say 1/2 inch ID 5/8 OD, this say 5/8 ID, and whatever it is, inch? Anyway, and then the clamp hose is perfect size. Okay, before I hook anything up, first thing I'm gonna do is clean. So I've got half vinegar, half water. Got some cleaning tools, paper towels. I'm gonna clean all of this up because anything that was coming out of there is not something I want in my bilge. Okay. I noticed the old one was caulked in place. It wasn't like 5200 or anything. It just looked like some silicone caulk. So looks like this one should fit perfectly. We'll put a bead in there. Just some regular silicone caulk. Couple pieces of preservation tape just to hold it in place. So if I'm pushing on it from the back, it's not going to come loose. Okay, that tape should hold it pretty well in place while I screw it in from the back. So I'm not sure what the protocol is here, how tight this should be, but I'm just doing it hand tight because it's plastic and it's on fiberglass. Expansion and contraction, I want to make sure that it's not going to be too bad, too tight. And then you could see that my caulk has spread all the way through. Once I go back outside, I got to make sure that I wipe any excess caulk off, but that's holding it on. Looks like I've got a nice seal all the way around. Let's try to put that hose on. All right, I got it on. It wasn't too hard. You can see I put that little loop in the top. I noticed that the old one had that loop as well. I'm assuming that's just so that any water that might splash up wouldn't come back in. Okay, now we're going to find another clamp, cut a nice clean end on this end, and put it onto the tank. There you have it. Not what I was expecting to do today, but kind of glad that it's done. One of the things I realized when I got to West Marine, I had cut just a short little bit of the old hose, the part where the through hull had broken off, and man, I opened that bag and that hose absolutely stunk. I mean, the smell was so bad, and I think, you know, over time that smell just seeps through those hoses. So I did also clean a little bit of the old pump out hose that goes from the tank to the actual pump out. Cleaned that as best I could. It still looks dirty, but hopefully that will help to solve some of the smell issues. The hose that goes from the toilet to the tank is only, well, I guess, shoot, that's now 5-6 years old, because we did replace that toilet and I put all new stuff in there at the time. So, but it's a really high quality hose. I mean, like, we took it to a marina for the other toilet, and the guy said it's the nicest hose he's ever seen in his life. But, you know, I'm not afraid to spend a little bit extra money if it means better quality. Well, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe and ask questions or make comments. If you have a comment on the type of hose I used, and you think I'm an idiot because I used drinking water hose as opposed to something else, or whatever. I actually really like that clear hose because I can see exactly where the clamp is on the hose, and I could tell that the clamp is exactly where it's supposed to be. So I kind of like that idea. Anyway, thanks very much, guys, for watching, and we'll see you next time.